now we shall do a hard pivot from Joe and Steiner to Bobby Roode and Scott D'Amore versus Rhino.
I mean, like, I don't think it's bad, though.
No, it's perfectly fine, but it's like the most real awesome wrestling to like, it's
Just some classic wrestling shite.
Yeah. So first impact of the pay-per-view cycle, the main event was Rhino versus Abyss in a King of London qualifier. Bobby Roode cost Rhino the match there by distracting him, and then Scott D'Amore gloated after the match. If you remember, Rhino and lost to Bobby Roode at Sacrifice. So continuing that feud there. There is a Bobby Roode versus Andy Douglas match on the May 25th Impact. Tell me all about this one, Liam.
No.
I didn't actually make a single note about the match. I literally just said, Roode wins with the Northern Lariat.
He sure does.
I like how Andy Douglas makes this big return and the next week he loses to Bobby Roode.
But yeah, because they're telling the story.
Slick Johnson is wearing shorts now.
He sure is.
There's a couple of notes about Slick Johnson's shorts.
Of course, let's go.
Mark Johnson, the referee who wears shorts, has so much TV time in the Larry Zbyszko angle because he's tight with Jeff Jarrett. He took to wearing the shorts because he had an idea to play like a soccer ref and pull out yellow and red cards. That was nixed. Now he's pushing to be a heel manager. Yeah. Mantell told Mark Johnson that Dixie Carter wants him out of the shorts. But then Jeff Jarrett, who is his buddy, told him they were okay.
Oh, Dutch Mantell, you can't be saying that to an employee.
On the pay-per-view, he was out of them, but he was back in them on TV.
All right.
It might have just been because it's Slammiversary they do, which I don't think they do anymore, but like they did back in the day. It would be formal referee attire for Slammiversary, so it would be like the shirt and the bow tie and the pants. So maybe that's why he was out of the shorts.
Maybe we'll see.
Roode looks to attack Andy Douglas with a chair after the match the same way Steiner did. Chase makes the save, but Team Canada overwhelm him. Rhino then makes the actual save. Roode bails out of the way of a gore, but it connects with A1. Rhino then demands a 2-on-1 handicap match at Slammiversary.
And Team Canada are like, you foolish idiot.
Yeah, you want to face us at a detriment? Yeah, we'll name anybody because it's going to be Roode and a member of Team Canada of Rhino's choosing. Rhino then briefly polls the crowd as to who he should choose, and then he chooses Scott D'Amore. So it will be Rhino versus Roode and D'Amore at Slammiversary. Slammiversary is really the D'Amore gets his comeuppance show because Lance Hoyt did it last year too. It wasn't a 2-on-1 match, but he did moonsault him after the match. Franchise once again scouting the naturals here.
Douglas and Douglas.
There is talk of putting Bobby Roode and Tracy together since she's had nothing to do since they stopped booking Matt Bentley. And they want him as a higher level singles player.
Well, I was going to talk about it on the pay-per-view, but I guess it makes sense with that note. It does feel like they've done a decent job of elevating Roode above random Team Canada member.
Yeah, there's a note I didn't include this month, but there was talk that they're like actively trying to differentiate the Team Canada guys as individuals.
Yeah.
And like Roode has the robe. They book him in singles. They do seem to be trying.
EY has like the aesthetic and the character.
Yeah, he has the paranoid thing going on.
Petey is the X Division guy.
Great personality.
And the rest.
And A1 is Johnny Devine. June 8th Impact, the main event was Chris Sabin and the James Gang versus Team Canada. We'll come back to this match a couple of times for different stories, but D'Amore is in a sweatsuit in preparation for his match at Slammiversary. He tries to eat a Twinkie, and Roode shouts at him and slaps it out of his hand.
Like, I don't know, I feel like they shouldn't be too scared. Like, this just makes it legal for Scott to interfere. Just be like, yeah, we're going to do a singles. Like, in their mind, the game plan should be, it's going to be a Roode Rhino singles, which we know we can win, and I can just interfere whenever I want, and it's legal.
Yeah, especially as you drove home the I know I can win part, because they did at Sacrifice. Once you keep D'Amore out of the ring as the legal man, everything's fine.
Yeah, so as long as he doesn't tag out, he's fine.
Later in this match, D'Amore throws Roode a hockey stick, but Rhino stops him from using it. But as I said, we'll come back to this match 2 other times.
Great.
Which does take us to the pay-per-view. We get a feature on Rhino versus Team Canada set to some generic rock song. I don't think they said what the song was on the screen. I would usually look into it if they do, but I don't think they did.
Who knows? It's crazy that they're like, yeah, let's give this the package.
Yeah, but it is their fairly standard. Everything gets a package more or less. But yeah, this extensive story, which they did include, I think, nearly every beat of.
Yeah, they had to find they used footage from other feuds, like just for reaction shots.
Yeah, just to get to a 90-second package. They could set to a generic, probably Christian rock song.
Yeah.
Rhino versus the Team Canada combination of Scott D'Amore and Bobby Roode in a 2-on-1 handicap match at Slammiversary.
They tried to do a real match instead of just doing the bit, and they suffered.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if they only just did, like, quick heat segment comeback, gore D'Amore, do that in like a tight 5. You're like, perfect, well done, in and out, that's exactly what this should be. Instead, there's like a 5-minute heat segment on Rhino, and you're like, who the fuck wants that?
Like, why are we doing this?
D'Amore grabs the mic before the match, says Rhino was a coward by making this a handicap match because he wanted an excuse for losing because he knew he'd get beaten up one-on-one by Scott D'Amore. It says the only thing that's handicapped is Rhino's IQ. It's a bit rude.
Owned. Fucking owned him.
Scott tells Roode to stay on the apron and be dazzled by his performance, but the second Rhino's music hits, Scott bails to the top of the ramp. And then, as I said, kind of boring match. D'Amore leads Rhino around the ring into a Roode lariat, and then they get the heat for ages. Scott does do a bicep pose, but pushes up his bicep with his other arm, which is a good bit. Scott misses a boot. That's you.
Yeah.
Pushing up your big muscles.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything like resembling biceps?
Yeah, I got like...
Oh, you're jacked?
I'm not jacked. I'm a 20-something-year-old man.
All 20-something-year-old men do have biceps. I guess we all do have biceps. They're all part of our arms.
I'm not Scott Steiner or anything, but...
It is weird, like, there is multiple times where I was looking at Scott Steiner's arms in this month, and I was like, holy shit, how are they like that? Steroids is the answer, but, like, how?
Yeah. I got some buys and tries.
Tell me more.
Thighs.
Yeah?
Ties. Oh me, oh my.
Scott goes for a moonsault, misses. He kind of moonsaults into a push-up. It's quite funny. Rhino makes a comeback, pins D'Amore with a gore. Boring match.
D'Amore with the gore.
Gore. Yep.